Welcome back to Just Fantastic Rab channel, and today we're playing Reading Simulator once again, or should I say Odyssey? I don't know, I don't remember. Reading Simulator it is. The pier is in good shape for being over 70 years old. The army built it in World War II, and that says any older artifacts will be mostly underground in volcanic caves he read about in army records. Guillaume said he saw large ruins above the ground, but that was on the far side of the wretched islands, and we don't know how to get there. But if the native Caribs and the later pirates did, there must be a way. For now, all we see are leftovers from the US Army days, like bridges, cables running overhead, a small building just up from the pier, and small shelters, mountains they were to cover food stores and other supplies, since there was also empty bottles and crates around. There isn't much left here in the old building, besides a bunch of cables and clumps and some funny boxes the army left behind. The boxes don't lock or anything, you just push a big button to open them, and it only works when they're plugged into electricity. We bought a lot of solar panel arrays with us for free power and save fuel for our diesel powered electric generator, and Sid hooked up the boxes one at a time. If they were all empty, we might use them to keep stuff in though. Up on a lookout point is a statue or monument of a globe. It's covered with little square holes, and it has a handle. We couldn't open it first. One of the many holes had a peg in it, and there was another peg on the ground. We figured out that sticking the second peg in a certain hole released a lock, so the handle could pull open to reveal a secret compartment. It was empty, but Sid saw that he could switch the linkages inside to whichever two peg holes we wanted for the lock. Just for fun, I found a couple of figures in a box of junk. I have attached them to the pegs while Sid changed the lock to open. The one peg was placed in the Caribbean where we are, and the other was at its antipode, so the other way around. We'll probably hide something in there later. There were a couple of empty cans of beans in the shack, and they didn't look 70 years old to me. Dad frowned when he saw them, saying it looked like some people have been here against the law. We didn't get to explore the rest of this little island piece today. There are lots of cliffs everywhere, and Mom and Dad want us to do all together to be safe. Today we just unloaded equipment and supplies, temporarily setting up in the shack just up the pier. I want to sleep outside under the stars, but Dad says he wants to waltz around us tonight. He was looking at the old food cans when he said it. I think it really bothers him that people have been here recently. Okay, now let's do this very, very hard puzzle. And how could this have happened? I don't know. I don't know how a puzzle transmits electricity, but whatever. I cannot interact with this thing. Although it powered something. Oh, did it power this box up here? Oh, antipode unlocks the globe, yes. If one was in the Caribbean, which yes it is, it should be on this one here. Around there somewhere. Okay, it's... Oh, it's over... Is it over here then? That's quite a bit further than I thought. More journal, no! Why? Why do you hate me so much? There is more journal. No! How many pages is it this time? Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Why? Why? I want to read the story, man, but man, no. Okay, so I got the pages, so I'm gonna read them in a bit. I just need to reach that place up there where we were in the last episode and visited for things. I didn't expect this game to be so heavily written based, or let's just put it that way. The pain. The pain of me having to read a boatload of text. Although that saves me from commentary, and you probably prefer me reading than commentary, but yeah. I'm not a professional reader, so I don't know, man. It might sound pretty bad while reading. Come on, this is over there. Yay for generators. Yay for power. And I'm gonna be now reading the book. Unpacking the boat and setting up camp all day, I had lots of time to think about antipodes. I finally understood that the ancients thought down was fixed direction in the universe and had nothing to do with where the earth was. For us that direction happens to be towards the ground, but for anyone on the other side of the world, that direction would be away from the ground and they'd fall off. But if down instead meant towards the center of the earth, then the antipodes wouldn't fall off. No matter where you were on the surface of a spherical earth, the down direction for you would be towards the ground beneath your feet, because that's the direction of the center of the earth. I asked Dad what he thought about redefining down like this. He said there was an ancient Greek philosopher named Anaximander who had done a similar thing. Interestingly, believed the earth was flat, but based on the trajectories of the stars he had to come to the conclusion that there was empty space all around the flat earth. So the earth was freely floating in space at the center of the universe. It had no tendency to fall down because down meant towards the center of the universe. And the earth was already at the center of the universe. It had no reason to move to any preferred direction from there. Any choice of direction to move along outwards of the center would be arbitrary. I thought that someone could have said the same thing for a spherical earth. It's already at the center of the universe, so it can't fall down anymore. And antipodes of its surface wouldn't fall off either, since they would fall down towards the center of the universe. Dad agreed and said tomorrow was a good time to introduce me to Aristotle, one of the greatest Greek philosophers. I woke up a while ago and couldn't get back to sleep. Too much going on in my head. I went outside and found Dad on the porch looking through binoculars. It wasn't pitch black, not with the stars and a quarter moon just above the horizon, but it was still too dark to see much. When he noticed me, he said he thought he saw a light out at sea. He said it was nothing, but seemed worried. Since I was awake, Dad said he'd tell me about Aristotle's physics, which people throughout Europe believed for almost 2000 years, and how it was similar to my thinking today. Aristotle believed everything in the world around us was made of combinations of four elements: earth, water, air and fire. Kind of like solids, liquids, gases and heat respectively. The natural tendency of the element earth was to fall towards the center of the universe. Water also falls, but not as fast as earth, which is why water, like the ocean, lies on top of the earth, even though they're both heavy. Air is a light element and wants to rise, which is why if you release air underwater, it bubbles up. So air forms a blanket around earth and water. Fire is the lightest and rises fastest, like how a flame goes up even if you hold a candle upside down. Aristotle said all natural motion was either towards the center of the universe, down, or away from the center of the universe, up. These tendencies of Earth caused its particles to arrange themselves symmetrically around the center of the universe, the ball that results in our planet Earth. And since the Earth is already at the center of the universe, it has no reason to move anymore, and so it's stationary at the center. I pointed out a glaring problem. The sun, moon, and stars don't move toward or away from the center of the universe. They move in circles around and around from our point of view. That said, Aristotle believed heavenly bodies were made of a fifth element called ether. Anything made of ether is divine and moves in perfect circles, never stopping or changing its behavior. Aristotle said the universe had an inner terrestrial realm made of the four elements and an outer celestial realm made of ether. Woo! I'll have to think about this some more, but I'm sleepy. At the middle of the night isn't the best time to exercise my brain. The Wretched Islands are complicated. It's mostly two islands, major and minor. But each is actually a cluster of little islands, but bits close together But each is actually a cluster of little island bits close together with treacherous cliffs and water between them. And Wretched Minor, and that believes the Caribs build row bridges to get around safely, but he's not sure he'll find any evidence to prove it after more than 3 centuries. The Army Corps of Engineers built their own bridges here for the World War II. They're still here, but Mom says it will take us days to repair them. They're half concrete, half wooden, where the wooden half can pivot with a crank to retract like closing a drawbridge in case enemy is attacked, and also to connect it with different places. And overhead are what looks like zip lines for fast travel, or maybe a way to retreat fast in an emergency. That said, the army built outposts on Wretched Major too, but it took a year with modern ships and equipment. There is no way primitive boats, or even ones like ours, could land there because of the cliffs and the fast current and dangerous rocks around the coastline. But army records show that they found larger ruins there, which Gollum saw for himself when he shipwrecked on the Wretched Major. How anyone centuries ago could get there from here to build anything is a big mystery that wants to solve. The mystery on my mind is Aristotle's physics. It seems to explain how things fall or rise, and also explains how the Earth could be round, yet it says the Earth is sitting still at the center of the whole universe. I wish I could find some other direct evidence that proves the Earth is round without so leading me to such bizarre conclusions. What could it be? And I guess this is the solution to this puzzle. Ether, if I can... So, this one is Earth. This is Earth. Then there is water. After water comes air. After air comes fire, and finally ether. Ether was the moon. That's a very interesting lock for a door. I mean, is this thing a box or is this just a thing? Oh, more pages. That's exactly what a man wants, man. More pages. It's dark in here. Let's see. Oh, this is going to take some more. Okay, so I need to move it. I'll need to read more. I'm guessing that that's the answer. Yeah, I'll tell you, I think that this is Earth, and the other one is the moon, and this is going to talk about eclipses in the pages. Before I take the other ones, I'm gonna read this. No, I wanna read those. Let's see, what could it be? A disk, a sphere, yeah, eclipses. It's probably gonna be about eclipses. On top of the tall peak of Wretched Minor is where the army built its observation post. That says it's a shame he believes the Caribs built their own observatory here, but no evidence of it was destroyed. He knows because the army photographed and stored what they found here, and Dad got to see their records. They didn't do a good job by archaeology standards, but he said it was amazing they recorded any of it at all for being soldiers in the middle of a war. That thinks a lot of evidence was already destroyed by pirates in the 17th century, though. They set up a base and used its peak as their own lookout. That was good luck because the pirates also wrote about their time here, and much of it survived in the lock boxes and glass bottles the army found. Sorry about yawning. That said, it's hard to learn about the Caribs directly because they didn't leave much behind that can endure for centuries. Even though the pirates destroyed so much, their logbooks preserved more information about the Caribs for that than if they had never come. The door to the army observatory can only be locked from inside, so the door was left unlocked when the army abandoned the islands after the war. Inside the structure was 3 floors, connected with ladders going up through trapdoors. Almost everything has been stripped out, except for some tables and chairs. The top floor has 2 different exhibits leading outside. One of them is through a lookout room leading to another rotating bridge, which seems to connect to the other exit. And that seems strange. It might be just to give soldiers access to 2 zip lines connecting to the other 2 pieces of wretched miner. Sid says he wants to fix the zip lines, but Mom says later the bridges have to come first. The best part is we get to sleep up here tonight. This is the zip line. Dad told I couldn't think of a direct way to prove Earth was round. He said a dinner plate is round but flat. You mean round like a ball and so a sphere? He hadn't talked about this difference before. Then he pointed to the quarter moon and said it looked round, but it was a disc or a sphere. I said it looked like a sphere, but I couldn't prove it. He said that was reasonable, that ancient people worked it out with observations over longer periods than just looking up at the sky one night. Watching the moon go through phases from a waxing, growing crescent up to a full moon and then back to the waning, shrinking crescent. The ancient Greek philosophers Parmenides noticed a pattern. The bright part of the moon was always in the direction of the sun. You can see this best during the day when the moon is a crescent and the lit side is always on the side of nearby sun. What caused this pattern? The explanation Parmenides came up with was that the moon didn't cast out its own light, it just reflected sunlight. That's why the bright part always faced the sun. Sunlight falling on the moon. I said that's even more evidence the sun is traveling in empty space on the other side of the earth at night. If the sun were hidden inside a boat or a dragon, its light couldn't shine on the moon. If the sun were hidden inside a boat or a dragon, its light couldn't shine on the moon. That agreed. He also added that one could easily prove the moon had to be a sphere. He pointed up to the quarter moon above and said there was no way you could shine a light on a flat disk and have it look like that. So, like that, or like that. That was hard to wrap my head around. Even if you shoved the light at the right angle, there was no way to light up only a crescent part of a disk. Seriously, Dad said the best way to prove it was to try it, so if I have time tomorrow I'll construct a physical model and see. I twisted my ankle helping fix the lower bridge. Gollum carried me up to the bunker, and Sid got me ice from the boat. Mom says it's pretty bad and I need to take it easy, probably for days. Now I'm stuck here with an ice pack. Mom, Sid and Gollum are back fixing the bridge, and that's working here in the bunker, carefully photographing and documenting everything, looking for anything else left behind that might tell him something about the Caribs or the pirates. It doesn't seem like it's much around, though. I think he doesn't want me to be alone up here. I got out my project supplies and made models to test out that talked about last night. I made two moons, a flat disc from an old round piece of plywood, and a sphere, one out of a styrofoam ball. My project supplies are half stuff you get from a craft store and half salvaged from the junkyard near my house, including a bunch of these cool crank wheels that make gears and sliders to go back and forth. I mounted the light on a track to act like the sun between the two moons, so I could crank it forward and backwards. I could have it just held the models up to the light, but I wanted to be precise. The spherical moon shows all the different phases the real moon does, but the disk moons isn't ever completely is only that's not a word, is only there is a space missing. Completely dark or completely lit with no phases in between. This proves it. The real moon has to be a sphere. Not only that, but I realized the only way to get crescent or quarter moons like we're having at night now is for the sun to be further away than the moon. It's still at least an hour till dinner time. I don't think anyone will come back till then. In the meantime, I think I'll paint these models to look like the real moon. Maybe I can bring it to school next year for extra credit. Showed everyone my model, especially the setting where the sun's light barely hits the flat moon, but it still lights it all uniformly, proving that phases are only possible if the moon is a sphere. But I didn't see how this helped prove the Earth was a sphere too. I asked that, but instead of answering, he told us how the pirates conquered the Caribs of the wretched islands. The pirates, even with guns, couldn't invade because rope bridges made them vulnerable. But they had something better than guns. They had knowledge. According to their astronomical navigation charts, a lunar eclipse was due. November 6, 1672, the pirates told the Caribs that if they weren't welcome, the moon god would get angry and rise dark and red. Christopher Columbus tracked a different tribe in the Caribbean this way, tricked a different tribe in the Caribbean this way long before, and they hoped it would work for them too. The Caribs didn't believe the pirates, but when the day came, the moon rose dark and red. All the Caribs panicked except for one. The Carib astrologer said it had nothing to do with the pirates. The moon was just in the Earth's shadow and it would soon emerge. The Carib astrologer explained how moon phases show the moon doesn't make light, it just reflects sunlight. And how the moon must be a sphere to have phases, and a crescent moon is only possible if the sun is further away. If full moon, if sun is closer, only possible if sun is further away. And with the moon and sun on a similar path, the moon can sometimes block the sun. Why else would solar eclipses happen only during a new moon? And when the sun is on the other side, the earth can get between the sun and the moon, and its shadow would fall on the moon. Why else would lunar eclipse only happen during full moon? The Carib astrologer said that that's what was happening and it would be over soon. They waited, but the Caribs were too afraid and didn't believe their own astrologer. As the night continued and the moon stayed dark red, they gave in. Months later, the wretched islands were a thriving pirate base with no free Carib people living there anymore. I am done reading, and I might be done with the episode. I just take this. Block this constellation with the sun upstairs. That is if I can find the sun upstairs. Oh, now it's lit up. Let's just check this. More pages. more pages, because that's exactly what I wanted to see. Let's climb upstairs. I see. I see. Okay, that's a bit interesting. And there is the hatch that needs to drop the ladder. But this will be in the next one if you're interested. I'm sorry about there being so much to read in this game. It will probably not change, like, at all. So, yeah. For now, thanks for joining me.